Hi, I'm going to look at this problem Fifi and Christian buy some land. And looking at the problem, I want to just briefly and kind of intuitively think how Polyer's heuristic might be able to help us. And in later blog posts, we'll look in more detail at the actual what Polyer says about each of these headings. Just to go back over the headings, Polyer has suggested the first thing we have to do is understand the problem, then get a plan together, do the plan, and then look back at what we've done, which seems horrendously obvious from a distance. But when we actually start to ask questions about what each of those heading really means, we get somewhere a bit more deeper. Well, so just as a mathematician, I'm looking at this problem and asking myself what's going on. The first issue here is that um, uh, how did this problem come about? Well, this is talking to a couple of friends, buying some land, and at a party, and the friends saying, well, yeah, they've got a problem with the land, we've bought it. This is what we know about the land. We know that it's got lengths at the sides of the plot, 30, 29, 27, 26, and we know its area is 780 square meters. And we want to divide it in half because there's two of us and we want to build two separate houses. We want to divide it in a certain way so that the shape of the land is good for the building. And but we have a problem. We really don't know how to divide this area in half. At the beginning, I'm listening to what they're saying and thinking, okay, fine. What's the shape of the land? And asking questions: is it square? Is it trapezoidal? Is it a parallelogram? And then this is my math brain coming out looking for particular geometrical shapes until it kind of occurs to me that, hey, this land is just a quadrilateral. And do I know enough? And I'm starting this process of understanding the problem. What's really going on? And of course, a key part to understanding is to draw a diagram. So draw a diagram. There we go. It's some quadrilateral with lengths 27, 29, 30 meters and 26 meters. And what do I want to do? Well, I want to split the land somehow in half. Well, I guess maybe if I make one of the sides parallel to the other side, like this, it's not too bad. Okay, I don't know the shape of the land is like this. This is obviously a problem. Now, where do I draw this line? I know that's 29. That's parallel. How on earth do I figure out? I know the area of this trapezoid has to be half of 780, 390. Well, what's the area of a trapezoid? I need to know that. I've got a problem here. And it seems the real problem is I've got no idea what the angles are in this quadrilateral. You can see what's going on here. I'm starting to ask the question, so what is it that I know? I know the length of the sides and the area. What is it that actually I need to know to continue and move the problem on? This is the understanding part. Well, I need to figure out, I think, the angles. Now, is that going to solve me the problem about finding the area or splitting the area in half? Well, I haven't got a plan together yet. I'm just understanding the problem, but seems to be a fairly good idea. Do I know how to find the angles of this quadrilateral? Well, actually, I don't. I don't have a formula for quadrilaterals or anything like that. I have something about the area. And it was playing around with the problem that the key, in fact, if you've done this problem, and the IB Pomoja students have done this problem, the key to the problem is this. The key to the problem is drawing a diagonal. And of course, as soon as I've drawn a diagonal, I've got two triangles. And I know about triangles. I've got a couple of rules. I've got the sine rule, the cosine rule, and the area rule. Okay, how could the cosine rule help me? Well, the constraint is that if I start trying to do the cosine rule with triangle A and then triangle B, I'm going to look at the opposite, C. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos A. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos A. The point is I've got a common side. So if I do the cosine rule, I'm going to get an equation with the cosine of these two angles. Okay, so that's an equation, one equation with two unknowns. I'm not going to actually solve this now. We'll come back to that in a later post. That's not good enough. One equation with two unknowns, I can't solve this. What else do I know about this quadrilateral? Well, I also know, of course, that the area is 780 meters squared. So if I worked out the area of triangle A, and I worked out the area of triangle B, and if I add them together, I'll get a number. Area A plus area B will equal 780. Okay, fine. Can I work out the area of these triangles? Well, no, but I can work my way towards it. The area of A is a half, using half AB sine theta, a half A squared plus B squared sine this angle is area A, a half 26 squared, this side squared, sorry, try that again, a half 26 times 27 sine of this angle will be area B. And if I add them together, I get 718. That's an equation with two unknowns, and I already have an equation with the same unknowns. So that's two equations, two unknowns I can solve. Okay, now already I'm thinking, okay, those equations are in cosines and sines. This looks a bit ugly, but let's worry about that later. That's not my problem for the moment. What I've done, I've actually started a plan here. But in starting that plan, I've done a few things, and I've understood the problem. The first thing of the problem is I've understood that I've got a quadrilateral with sides, and I've got an area. And I have to do something to move myself forward. It's the key step, and drawing the diagonal is the key step. Once I've drawn the diagonal, I can start including things I know, and I can start using trigonometry. And at that point, I've understood the problem. I've got a long way to go to devise a plan to actually split this area in half. But it seems to me that if I know the angles in this quadrilateral, I can start asking questions. I can start playing around with this to think about splitting in half. Okay, so I'm kind of breaking the problem down into smaller steps, and that's obviously part of devising a plan. Okay, so the next post you'll see will be about understanding a problem, and the three steps in understanding a problem are: what do I know? What am I looking for? And Polya talks about finding the constraint. And in fact, finding the constraint is something about the problem, something you're stuck with. In this case, I guess it's the area of the quadrilateral that allows you to start using mathematics. Okay, the constraint is key. So in this case, the constraint is if I draw the diagonal, this length, this side of the triangle is in both triangles. Use the cosine rule. If I draw the diagonal, I have two areas, and if I add the areas, I get 780. Those are my constraints. Okay, so I hope the video was helpful, and I look forward to you coming into our next post.